Are you anal about stuff? Like, are you OCD about certain things?
Yeah, to a point when it's, certain things. I like things to be even, like on computer screens and stuff, and I think that translates into woodworking too. But yeah, to some point.
Yeah.
I am too usually. I mean, look at the wall
Yeah.
behind me.
It looks good.
Not that people listening can see it, but it's laid out nicely.
See, I'm not OCD about stuff at all. I don't know. I've never had that. I've never had that tick where I'm like, okay, if ever, it's not like the way exactly. Like I like to be in control, especially like driving, things like that. I'd rather drive than sit in the passenger
Me
seat
too.
100% of the time. But when it comes to organization stuff, I've always lagged behind, I guess would be a good way to put it. So I don't know. I need to get better, but I've never had OCD or anything like that when it comes to organizing or desktops.
I'm not horrible about it, but once I do decide that I want it to be organized, then I'm just like full blown into it.
Yeah.
And then I'll look at like another part, especially in the shop. I'll look like another part of my shop, and there's just crap thrown in a box, shoved under the bench. I'm like, man, I'll do that a different day.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm organized on some things, but then if you open a drawer in my shop, it is just piled with stuff.
Yep.
But when I decide that I'm going to organize that, it'll be all foam inserts and completely organized and looking good. But up until then, it's a train wreck.
Yeah.
Dude, I was rolling at Mullen's story the other day.
It's so true though. You made this like
I showed my
super
girlfriend,
nice thing.
she was laughing so hard.
Yeah. Well,
And my mom, she was rolling.
You made that super nice organizer, and I had to go buy sandpaper because it was completely out. And I need to buy Klingspor or not Kling. Is that what is it? Klingspor? Or,
yeah.
I need to do.
Like
I need to.
I don't know. I only use Merca.
Oh, so yeah, but I need to find some other besides Diablo because that's what I've typically been using because you just buy it at Home Depot. But I went and bought some, and then I threw it in my drawer, and I was like, "Yep, Brandon needs to see this is how it should be." And so I recorded that for you.
Oh, I was rolling.
Yeah,
I said because I am a Neanderthal.
Yeah, I almost couldn't say it. Did you notice? Like I almost kind of like stuttered. I was like, "Oh, I couldn't actually say it." But whatever. But I went through a big change this week too because I switched over from Mullen Woodworks to Mullen the Maker, which was kind of a big thing. But it was pretty smooth transition. I've heard of people switching over to their actual name from their woodworking DIY name, like April Wilkerson, who tried to just switch over to her name, and people freaked out. And
what was it before?
Well, she's Wilkerdoos, right? And so she switched.
See, I came after that, I think, or I came across her stuff
Maybe.
after she switched.
But she was still big, and then she
I never
decided,
knew
"Hey,
about
I'm going
that.
to switch over to April Wilkerson." She was Wilkerdoos. Then she decided, "I'm going to switch to April Wilkerson," and apparently people freaked out, saying, "Hey, we like April Dews way better," and all this stuff. And then she switched back to Wilkerdoos, so that's what she is right now still. But mine.
I mean, I've heard that, but I didn't realize that was like her brand.
Yeah, so I switched to Mullen the Maker instead of Mullen Woodworks, which I think...
I'll take credit for that.
For what? Switching over?
Yeah.
Why?
Because, like, well, I don't know if it was on the podcast, but I was like, I bet you're mad that you had your name at
no,
Woodworks
but I've been thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah, no, it was mostly my idea.
It was 100%. Brandon, thank you. I'm going to give you 10% of everything I make from now on. I appreciate it.
I'll give you my routing number.
Yeah, you're the best. I'll Venmo you.
Just direct deposit's fine. I don't really like checks too much.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll pay you in beer and other stuff you don't drink, so Jesse and I can drink it.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I switched over to Mullen the Maker, but I think it's pretty smooth because it still starts with the same name. And even my brother who looked at it, he's like, I didn't realize what I was watching till the end. Like, I didn't even notice you changed your name. And I'm like, well, that's good. That's a good thing. So, I don't know.
I like it. Anyway. It's a good name. Kind of sounds like a wizard, though.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Should have put an S on the end so Jesse doesn't mess it up.
Mullins.
Mullins the Maker.
Mullins the Maker. Yeah, maybe.
Maker Mullins.
Yeah. Oh, well. But it worked out. So I'm happy with it.
That's cool.
Hopefully expand it to more metal stuff coming up soon. So we'll see if I can get a welder or whatever. I had to start doing a lot more research about that since I haven't. But it makes more sense since I redid a whole trailer, which wasn't really woodworking. I mean, it was renovating, but it wasn't straight
I
woodworking.
would say your yard stuff was really woodworking either.
No, it's DIY stuff. And so for me, I think it encompasses actually what I do a lot more. And I post barbecue. That has nothing to do with woodworking. And I literally put on every post I do with barbecue, hashtag not woodworking every time. And it's so, it makes more sense now to me. So,
yeah. I feel like I'm not allowed to change my name anymore. I've reached the limit.
Yeah, you've done it like three times.
Three times.
Yeah. You need to stop. You just need to settle down. It's time to commit,
Right?
Yeah.
I have. I got hats and stuff now. So,
well, Brandon, I didn't really want to jump right into this, but man, you kind of had the eventful week, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah. Favorite week of my life.
Man, it's pretty bad up there right now. I was reading something today. It said 20 of California's worst fires, 6 of them happened this year.
Yeah.
And that's pretty bad. I guess a lot of people have died too. I guess over 20 people so far, and still a lot missing. That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, just in the fire near my house, I think I read today that there was like 12 deaths, and there's still 16 people missing.
That's not good.
So, and that it's done what, over 250,000 acres it's burned?
Yeah, it's I checked before I got on. I think it was like 253,000 and still burning.
And that all started from a storm, just lightning and stuff.
Yeah, we had a thunderstorm that started like 26 or 28 fires in the North State. And so that had actually been burning since August 17th. And like, I think it was like a forestry fire, not CAL FIRE. Because usually CAL FIRE jumps right on that stuff and just gets it taken care of. And I'm not saying it was forestry's fault, but that's what I was told. It was a forestry fire, not a CAL FIRE incident. And it was just burning and burning. And the wind kicked up real bad. And then it made I think they said it made like a 22-mile run in 10 hours. That's something crazy, insane. Man. It was moving so fast, it just pulled all the personnel off the line because it was too dangerous and there's nothing they can do. So a lot of times, like, they'll get a hold of it pretty quickly because you can attack it from the air. Like, we have like huge jet. I mean, I think there's actually one that's like I can't remember what they call it, but it's like basically it's like a passenger jet size plane. It's huge. And they send that thing around to like some of the big fires, but the smoke's so bad they can't see to fly. So now they're just ground crews only, which is, I mean, it's better than nothing, but
not super helpful.
It's so dry here. It's just like, if the wind kicks up, it's just like, good luck, do what it wants, pretty much.
Now, when was the last time y'all had any significant rain?
We don't ever get rain. I mean, it'll rain like, generally like around May or June is our last rain, and that's like few and far between, and then it won't rain again until October or so at all. Gotcha. Like whatsoever. Like, I think it rained maybe twice during the summer, but it was like you can eat 3 hours later you would never know it rained. Yeah, it's real dry.
The worst part of all this too is your mom lost her house, huh?
Yeah. A lot of people where I grew up lost everything pretty much. There's not much left up there. It's like a small mountain community, and like my childhood school burned down, and the Grange burned down, which is like a community hall type thing. And I think there's only like one, like the cafe bar place, it's still there. And then the post office, which is attached to it, which is where my mom works. So luckily she'll hopefully still have a job if they continue to have it open. So that's a bright side.
Yeah.
But yeah, the IG communities came together huge. Everybody, a lot of people have been donating. I know you guys shared it and everything, which I really appreciate. My mom really appreciates. She can't believe how awesome everybody has been. And she's not like, she didn't want me to post it. Like, I made a GoFundMe and she didn't want me to at all. She's seen other people doing it. She's like, you better not make one of those for me, because she's just so selfish or selfless and doesn't want, charity or whatever. She's more the people that kind of person that would give stuff, rather than take it. But me and my aunt and girlfriend were just like, you know what, it's time she got something back. So big shout out to Chris from Cunningham Woodwork. He's doing a raffle. I don't know when it might be over by the time this podcast is out, but he did a raffle with a handmade dovetail saw that him and Bearcat Woodworks, I believe is his name, kind of collaborated on. And so he's doing a raffle for it as well. So basically go donate to the GoFundMe for my mom, and then he enters you in a raffle. For each $5 you get an entry, and it's a cool saw. It's got like a epoxy resin handle, and then it's all custom engraved with the Bearcat stuff on the blade, and
that's awesome.
It looks
That's
awesome.
cool. I didn't know
really
he was
cool.
doing that. I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah. And we'll put a link in the description if you guys would like to donate to the GoFundMe. You guys can donate there. We appreciate it. I'm sorry, Brandon, for all that. It's horrible, man. I know that there's another company
appreciate it.
That's interested in helping out that I forgot to tell you about before the podcast. So I'll tell you after the podcast. And so as well. But
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, she didn't have like necessarily she didn't own a house. She was just renting, so it's not like she has to worry about that. But I mean, you still don't have a home.
You lost all your possessions and stuff. I mean, I was thinking about it after I heard me and you were texting and talking about it, and Jesse, and I was thinking about all the stuff in my house, and just having to get in a car with my family and leave and come back and all that be gone. We don't have fires here, but the tornadoes that come through, back in March, it was kind of the same thing. So the house is completely taken, and that's an overwhelming feeling, like something I could not imagine. So really prayers and everything go out to her. So because that's tough.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's been rough right here.
Yeah,
my girlfriend lost her house in 2018.
Right.
Like kind of basically went through the same thing. So she's been really helpful. She knows what she's going through. So
and that was the big campfire, and that was it called.
Yeah, the campfire. That was like California's deadliest fire.
Paradise, right?
It was like 85 deaths. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, so she's been really taking care of her, doing stuff. So we got the spare room in my house all set up nice for her.
That's good.
My girlfriend's dad and stepmom gave us like a bedroom set, and my girlfriend's pretty good at decorating. That's kind of her hobby. So she did her Joanna Gaines in there, and it looks really good.
Well, hey, silver lining, your mom gets to hang out and be with you more, and you get to spend some more time together.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the end goal would be to like build a little mother-in-law type house on my property because I got almost 2 acres. So hopefully that's the case. I was listening to
I was just gonna say, is your property pretty far away from like potential fires? You think you're pretty safe where you're at?
Well, we almost had to evacuate too. Actually, the whole town was under warning, because you just never know. It could just, especially stuff like that with the wind, and it could just rip across. I mean, look down in Southern California, it went through cities.
Well, Malibu,
like, there's no trees at all. And so you just never know. But generally, fairly safe. I haven't ever had to evacuate, and I've never seen a fire come through this area. But like I say, you never know. They seem to get worse every year, so we'll see. But I was listening to the Shop Sounds podcast with Jason and KJ Sawdust and Nick Key, and I guess Jason's cabin. They have like a cabin down by like a river cabin or something, and he said that burned down too because Oregon is all on fire as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I did read something about Oregon's fires too. I forgot they got a bunch of them.
Dude, it's like the whole West Coast. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Dude, we can here in Utah, we can barely see our mountains because all the smoke comes and settles here every year. Like, we don't have that. We have a couple fires here and there that the Utah takes care of. Like any state, you're gonna have a few. At least West Coast, you have a few.
Right.
But our air quality gets horrible because of all that. For some reason, everything blows this way and settles.
Somebody messaged me from like British Columbia, and they were like, we're smoke's really bad up here from all the fires down here because it's all the way up. Like Washington's all on fire too, which is not normal.
Pretty much the whole West Coast.
Yeah, it's just, if you look at like a fire map, it's just like, it looks like it's just solid fire.
Yeah, my wife showed me one of those, like, it's like a Google Maps or whatever, and you could zoom in and out on it, and it was insane how many fires there were right now.
Dude, I got
and that's part of the problem why they're all getting so big, because the resources are stretched so thin. I seen a post somebody posted the other day, and they had like a fire crew coming in from Mexico to help.
Oh wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
my brother sent me a map, kind of what you're talking about, of Colorado, right? And it was the whole west side was fire, the whole east side was fire. Down where the mountains, the Rockies, Denver, and all that, it was snow. It showed snow, and it showed rain, and then in the top corner on the other side of the fire, it was ice. So you have ice, fire, snow, and then fire again.
Right.
It's like, I can't imagine.
Montana has a lot of fires too, but they have a lot of big fires as well, like all the time.
It's nuts, but
so
that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
No good.
Yeah.
But we'll get through it. I really appreciate everybody that's helped out so far. It means a lot. So
yeah, and we'll put a link, like I said, in the description for you.
I'm just gonna let it run until it, people quit donating. So
it's good.
Yeah. And good news for her. Her son's got a wood shop that didn't burn down, and he can make all of her furniture back again.
That's
so
true story.
Get busy, Brandon.
Yeah. Right. I know. And everybody's so nice around, even locally, because she ran the post office up there for, ever since I can remember. It's before I was in kindergarten, I know. So like everybody loves her. And so everybody's like, what can I do? What does she need? I'm like, well, she's staying in my spare room right now. She doesn't really need anything, except, just, future funds to get back on her feet, basically.
Yeah.
But everybody's like trying to give her all these clothes, and I'm like, it's not really, like, she mostly actually took most of her clothes with her, luckily. So she has her clothes, and she got her like guitar and a couple keepsake things like my dad's urn and stuff like that. So at least those came out.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's rough, man. I can't imagine. I'm glad you have a support system around you. Sounds like you got a girlfriend that's a keeper. So lock that up soon, huh?
Right.
She's gonna listen to this. She's like, yeah, yep, Brandon, get to it.
Yeah, she's pretty much just like me. We're just like, yeah, maybe someday.
Yeah, that's it. You're just very casual about it.
Mm-hmm.
Someday's got to come. Someday, though, Brandon.
Someday.
Yeah. Dude, I was the complete opposite, man. I think I've told you guys before, but I got engaged when I was 17 years old. I got married when I was 19 years old to my high school sweetheart. So I'm the opposite of that. I was like, okay, we need to lock this up and start moving forward. That was my point of view, apparently.
Well, I'm glad it's working out.
Yeah, it's worked out great, man. It's
part of the very small percentage of success stories.
Yep. Yeah. For that young, definitely.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. Everyone thought we were crazy, and I was like, "You're whatever." And then now I look back and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I was crazy."
Oh, we were nuts.
Yeah. I was like, I was so young. What?
Right.
So anyway, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, the fire's pretty much gone. We're not really worried about the fire coming this way now because it's mostly out on this side at least. But it's starting to make a push the other way. But the smoke's just so bad. I went to everybody's buying all the filters and everything. So you go to Home Depot and their whole shelves are literally empty where all the HVAC filters are. Because I've been making DIY filters, get a box fan and just tape a filter to the back of it. And it'll last 2-3 days before it's black, even inside. But you got to have them. I went and got another one today. So I got three fans with, or they MERV rated 11 or whatever for smoke. There's there's 2 top tiers that are filter smoke. So I got those running on there, and then I taped one to the intake of we don't have central air, we just have a wall mounted unit, but I taped it to the intake part of that, and it's bigger than it's the intake, so 2 inches of it's hanging down below, and I just put it on there maybe 6 hours ago, and you can see clearly the line where it's darker than it's intense.
Are you wearing anything extra when you're out outside the house and stuff?
If I have to go outside for a long time, I'll wear my respirator, because the air quality, usually the index is supposed to be below 50, for the, I don't know it's called, the air, I think it's AQI, air quality index. And I looked at it today and it was in the 600s, which is insane. And that's crazy. At one point yesterday, it showed that it was up to 1500.
Golly.
And it was it literally said toxic.
Don't go outside.
Don't breathe it. Yeah. Everybody's been kind of locked down. They're don't go outside. If you do, wear a respirator. It's bad.
You got to know the air's bad when you go get in your car. I saw your video, and you have to turn your windshield wipers to get the ash off of your windshield. The air's got to be awful at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the day after my mom got evacuated and stuff. And that was the day after we almost got evacuated. So the fire was blowing towards us really hard. The wind was 50, 60 mile an hour in the canyons, which is one of the reasons why it moved so quickly.
Right.
But it was literally I went out and turned all my sprinklers on because I have a dry field, and I was afraid of it having spot fires because I was getting full size leaves fall in my yard, like burnt ones, and like chunks of wood were falling. Like I had them on my truck, and it was probably an inch deep of ash on my whole truck.
Oh, that's crazy.
Insane.
We had this freak storm come in. I think Monday. It was early in the week. We had this freak storm. We never usually get wind very bad, and we got 90-mile-an-hour wind this storm.
Wow.
And it was crazy. I've never seen wind like this before. It woke me up at 2 a.m. We had our window open, and you just start hearing it. And there's, in our area, everyone has a half acre, and it's been around for, this area has been around for 20, 25 years. So they're very mature trees, big, tall trees, 60 feet, whatever. It's just very tall. And so you just hear it in the trees, and it woke me up and scared the crap out of me. And my wife, we were both up probably every 10 minutes from there until morning. And I thought for sure, I was like, okay, this is going to be the test, and see if my Toya grid, right? Everyone always says, because my pergola that I put down, I didn't cement it down. I have about 1 foot big giant stakes in the foot. So it's 4 in each one. But there's a lot of contact points. It's an L, so it's a very unique shape. So I think it's going to be hard to blow over anyway. But I was like, this is going to be it. If it's going to move, this is it, right? Well, all night I kept waking up, looking out the window. It's good to go. Our shades on our pergolas, they were all flapping and undone, and so I thought they ripped. And then in the morning when I got out there, we had no trees falling on anything of ours, which most of our trees are a little bit shorter, so I wasn't too worried. But none of our neighbors' trees hit our fences, which is great. But we did have a big giant pergola from our neighbor that's aluminum and massive fly apparently over the fence, the vinyl fence, never touched the fence because nothing broke, over the clubhouse because it was right next to our clubhouse that I built. Across our yard, so it didn't touch our grass, which is 40 feet wide. So just went 30 feet, another 40 feet, just went 70 feet and landed next to my trailer on the other side of my half acre. And the thing was massive. But I mean, they had the canopy up on it, so I'm sure that the wind grabbed it. But that was crazy. And there's people that lost clubhouses, and Centerville down in Salt Lake. I went down there yesterday, and there's weeping willows that just tore out huge sections of golf courses that just fell over all over.
Wow.
And they clocked the wind coming out by University of Utah at 112 was the max that they had. Which is just, I've never been in anything like that. It's pretty crazy. And
that's like, what is considered hurricane force?
That was definitely hurricane force. I think 70, maybe 50 or 70. It's something like that, probably 70. Yeah, they originally said 70, and then in the morning they're like, oh, it hit 90 and then hit 112 in this area. But there was so much damage, and luckily we got no damage at all. So we were out of power for almost 24 hours. So
Category 1 hurricane, 74 to 95 mile an hour. Category 2, 96 to 110. Category 3, 111 to 129. So
we hit 112. You're looking at the 2 to 3 range there. We hit 90, so we'd be Hurricane 1, I guess.
Yeah.
You survived a hurricane.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, hey, my pergola survived it. I felt so like justified at the end. Like when I did my story, I was like, you see that? Everybody gave me crap saying it's going to blow away in the first storm. I was like, suck it. Because it didn't.
Now what?
And I knew it wouldn't.
I could see just Jesse going outside, be like, "Yeah, yell."
That's pretty much what I did. I was like, "No damage? Are you kidding me? This is sweet."
Barefoot, no shirt on.
Yeah.
Those wind sails or whatever you would call them, that's on your pergolas. That's impressive that they didn't tear.
Yeah,
they didn't tear.
That had to be.
How they attach to the wood is just a buckle, right? With like I don't know, vinyl strap or whatever. So just buckle. And so they were all hanging down, all the ones that were up on top, except the biggest one, which is very surprising. I don't know if it's because it has 1 more or 2 more buckles compared to the other one. But that one, which is 12 by 8, was fine. It was still up, looked tight as can be. I was like, that's weird. All the other ones were all flopping down. But what happened was the silk vinyl with it whipping, and actually whipped it out of the buckle. So the buckle didn't rip. Nothing ripped on the entire thing except it just fell out, which I was happy it fell out. I'd rather it fall out than, rip. So
Yeah, right.
I was pretty happy
That's
with
cool.
it. I was impressed.
Well, you had any disasters on your side, Jesse P?
Well, we had the
tornadoes or
EF4 tornado on March 3rd, March 2nd,
Yeah.
March 3rd area back then.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was nuts. It took out a lot. I mean, it missed my house by about 150, 200 yards.
That's right. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it pretty much totaled 2 of my family members' homes, but affected 7 major damage my family's houses, as it went straight across. But I was just looking, EF4, they said its highest winds were 175 miles an hour.
Oh, wow. Dude.
As it came through. And
that's crazy.
We were up, and I was up. It hit in the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was up because my son was sick and he was throwing up.
Oh.
And I'm laying in the bed with him. He's puking in a trash can, and I'm watching the news. And I'm like, man, that tornado looks like it's coming right at us. I was like, hey, I think we need to head to the washroom. So our washroom or our washer and dryer is kind of center of the house, no windows. So we gather everybody up in there, and I grab a blanket, throw it in there, get a trash can for him. And I do the typical dad thing, as I always do. And I've been through several tornadoes here in Nashville, the big one back in 98 and stuff. And I go step out the back door, So I open up the back door, and as soon as I do, it's pitch black, but I know there's a tornado right there. Like, I can hear the train sound. I can see the wind. And I was like, oh, this ain't good. So I took off running, went back in there and jumped in and covered everybody up. And we're sitting there, and my son's puking in a trash can.
Oh my
Things are going haywire.
You're like, so then my wife puked, and then my daughter puked.
It was
and
awful.
Then I puked.
We're in a tiny washer and dryer room, and he's puking. But my cousin called me, who lives right down the road from me a couple miles, and he's like, I need your help. I was like, all right. So I jumped in the truck, and my neighbor, and we grabbed some flashlights, Brian, and shot over there.
Brian.
Shout out Brian once again.
We pulled in his neighborhood, and it was awful. I mean, it destroyed homes in that neighborhood like you'd never believe. It was like a war zone. I mean, I pulled in there right after the tornado came out. There was gas leaks everywhere. All you hear was fire detector sounds beeping everywhere. People were walking through the streets bleeding. I went in to get him. It hit his house direct. He had no idea. I was laying in the bed. I mean, it threw bricks through his windows, like through his walls and his house and stuff. And
Wow.
there was an entire home's interior furniture, washer and dryer, beds, and everything were in his backyard and pushed up against his house, like an entire home's worth of stuff. When I walked around the corner in the middle of the night with a flashlight, I was like, you don't register it. And then I look over to my right, and the house next to him is missing the entire side of the house. And there's a dude standing there in his boxer shorts. I was like, hey man, you all right? He was like, I was sleeping right there. I was like, are you okay though?
Right.
He was in complete shock. Everybody was. It was crazy. But yeah, that was a very crazy one. But I'll tell you, Jesse, talking about the straight line winds, just a few weeks later, we had straight line winds come through here that got to about 90 to 100. And it took down more trees in those straight line winds than it did during the tornadoes. The tornadoes devastated homes and stuff, but those straight line winds took, giant oak trees and stuff just completely from the root balls and just laid them over on houses and stuff. It was crazy. So those straight line winds can be dangerous too.
Yeah, that's how this was. I mean, and you think about it, a tornado, that storm, well, I mean, the winds are way stronger, obviously, but you're hitting at a specific area, which is probably smaller, and it's only for a specific amount of time. That's probably a lot less than the straight line winds were. At least here, we had it for 6-7 hours. So if you have winds just hitting these trees constantly for, it maybe wasn't that much. Maybe it was like 4 or 5, but that's a long time for a weeping willow, for these giant cottonwoods, and you might hear some sirens going off in my right outside my house. But
you want to go check, make sure everything's okay?
Oh no, I don't do that anymore.
This is kind of a
unless I get paid. No thanks.
Yeah,
I'm good. That's somebody else's job. So
I got a call after the tornado. from a friend of mine. I had made his dining room table, and he called me. It's like, hey man, tornado hit my house. He's like, I'm gonna need a favor from you. I was like, hey, whatever you need, let me know. He's like, I'm gonna need your table refinished. I was like, well, what's wrong with the table? He said, a tree hit it. I was like, a tree hit your dining room table? He goes, absolutely. He's like, the top's gonna have to be redone and all that. I was like, well, that's the first.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm. There you go.
It's good. It's crazy. It's crazy what's different, like different things that happen across the country. And
Right.
what's
Right.
bad in California, what's bad here in Tennessee and other places and stuff. And I think out of all of them, fires would probably scare me the most. I don't want anything to do.
Yeah, maybe.
Fires.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I grew up in California, and Brandon knows, I'm sure up there you guys get them too, earthquakes, right? Everyone's, and if a lot of people,
I've never been in one or felt one.
Oh,
but
really?
people are like, did you feel that? I'm like, no.
Southern California, we got
don't-
hit with a few big ones,
Yeah.
and apparently when I was really little, we got hit with some really big ones. I don't really remember those, but I've been in enough now where you feel it and things are moving. You're like, whoa, what's going on?
Mhm.
That I'm used to it. So we've felt some in Utah before. We have 1 or 2 fault lines, but they're usually never that bad. And
Yeah.
but there's a lot of people, if you ask, that are on the West Coast, or I mean the East Coast or Midwest, that deal with tornadoes. It's like, oh, I'd hate to be in an earthquake. And for me, it's like,
Right.
earthquakes are simple, man. They just shake for a minute,
Yeah.
you're done, you know?
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I'd rather,
Unless
the
it's like
tornadoes
the-
are way scarier, you know?
The one in
It's
the
always-
1900s for San Francisco, that was probably a little different.
Yeah. And it's like, well, there's always the San Andreas fault. They always say it's going to blow
Right.
one day, and
Mm-hmm.
who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, and it's crazy, like the difference in different fires, like the way they behave. Like I've talked to a lot of fire captains around here, and they're just like, we've never seen fires act like this before. Like you don't know what they're gonna do. Like usually you can be like, oh, we're gonna cut a line here, and then it'll burn up to it and stop. Well, now it's like, oh, it's burning this way. 2 minutes later, it's going complete opposite direction, or like it jumps like an insane amount. And they have like, you guys probably seen like the videos of like the fire tornadoes and stuff.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Because the fire creates its own wind. And you think like, oh, I would stay home and like try to save my house. Like I thought that too until I went and tried to. I helped one of my buddies evacuate a couple years ago and got real close to a legit fire. And I was like, oh yeah, you're not stopping that with anything ever. Like I don't care what you do, you're not stopping that. The flames were 60 feet tall.
Yeah.
And the wind that it creates from itself was I don't even know, 50, 60 mile an hour winds. Like it was dead silent, like no wind. And then that fire came over the hill, and it was like a hurricane. It was insane. And I'm like, we need to go right now. And like it burned around his whole house. And luckily he had horses and stuff, so it was all the grass was eaten down, and somehow it went around his house and didn't burn it.
Oh wow! And
That's
I think
crazy.
that's why they like tornadoes. At the most part, weather channels and stuff, they've got them. They're pretty good. They got them down pat. And then when it hit in the middle of the night, it was a little tough because you couldn't see it.
Right.
But they still had a track on it, and they still could tell us, this much time for here, this much time for there. There's a tornado on the ground, kind of thing. With
Yeah.
fires, it's like you think it's going one way, and then it's not.
Yeah.
And with a tornado, it could hit and miss a house. I mean, it could go right over a house and not touch it. But those fires, it's almost like everything is decimated.
Well, and it's not like, oh, it's this 100-yard area that's coming through. It's like,
No.
oh, there's 20 miles of fire coming at you wide.
Right.
Like, and it's moving. It's not like when they had the campfire in Paradise. I mean, a lot of people died on the side of the road in their car because you can't get out.
Yeah.
There's only 2 ways out, and they're all blocked.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what do you do? There's nothing you can do. It just burns you over. That's it.
My dad,
crazy.
he's a teacher out in California, Southern California, and almost every year he does the same thing to one of like his classes. And he goes through and he says, okay, guys, today we're supposed to have an earthquake at 9 a.m. So I want everyone to get on their desk. I don't want any talking. When you sit there, if you have a book you can read, but I want you to be under your desk, you read. So he's all his kids get under their desk, and then he just sits.
We did that when I was a kid too.
Yeah, no, but this was just like he'll just pick a day and he'll just sit at his desk and grade. And so he'll just sit there and grade, and all the kids are just sitting there being quiet, just don't say anything, until that's one awesome. Kid's brave enough to be like, I thought you couldn't predict fires or earthquakes, And he's like, oh, that's right, you can't. You guys can get back up. We'll remain class.
That's hilarious.
He used to do it every year. And the one year when I was in 5th grade and I was in his class, I just sat there and he like looked at me and I was like, I know you do this. And he was like, get under your desk. And I was like, okay, let's go get back under my desk.
So you had your dad as a teacher?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It's funny. My wife had my dad as a teacher in 5th grade, actually.
That's interesting.
We went to school together since 3rd grade. So we knew, we didn't start dating until junior year of high school. We never talked until junior year of high school, but we always knew of each other.
Which is what, 2010, 2011?
Yes. Yes. You act like that's funny. Yes, that's it. So we started dating. That's hilarious. Once again, I'm not 53 like you, Jesse. So I graduated in 2011. And we started.
Oh, good Lord!
Yep. And so we started dating in 2010, like early 2010. So that's when we started dating. But yeah, so she had him in high school. So when she came over for the first time, she was like, "Hi, Mr. Mullen." She's like, "He's like, you can just call me Mike." And she called him Mr. Mullen all the way until we got married, which would be 3 years. She called him. She just couldn't do it. She's like, "Oh, he's my teacher." That's what I call him.
Right.
So
that's hilarious.
What's your dad teach?
So he teaches elementary, 5th grade, or I think he's 6th grade now. He used to teach 5th grade. He's 6th grade now, and he kind of does everything. But this year's crazy. Yeah, so it sucks is this is last year, and California is still super locked down when it comes to COVID and all this stuff. So teaching wise, he's all online. And he hates it because he's done his entire career of 30 years or whatever, 30 plus years of teaching. He wanted to really enjoy this last year. And now he can't even really connect with his class. He can't really get in-depth teaching like you should. I think everybody realizes you don't get as good teaching online as you would in person. So he's pretty disappointed in that because he wanted to finish off on a good year where he could have fun with his kids, and he can't now. But so now he basically did 30 years of teaching, and then the last year he has to relearn everything because now he's doing everything online, Yeah.
And so my sister's a teacher also. She's going through the same thing.
It's a pain. I feel bad for him, really. Utah pretty much opened up completely. There's certain counties. They're letting it do county by county. So I know Davis County, which is a little further south than us, they're doing kind of a split schedule where you're doing 2 days in class, Tuesdays and Thursdays, but Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays you're at home. And then here in Cache County, it's all open. So, Monday through Friday, you go to school and you just go in. You wear masks, but we haven't seen a spike at all. And we've been in class for 3-4 weeks. So that's good. Yeah. So I think they're taking precautions, but I think that everything's going smooth, which is good.
My kids are in private school and they're 5 days a week. They have smaller classes than most public school does, probably 15 to 20 kids in a class, maybe. So they can distance a little bit and take precautions. But we haven't seen anything yet at all. So it's been really good. And my kids were, as much kids don't like going to school, they were really excited to go to school. So I'm glad for them.
Especially being locked down since March. There's like, I want to go see other kids my age. You're like, I know.
I'm happy that it's working out. I'm happy they're able to do it in a safe way. And I'm happy to get to go because I feel really sorry for these kids in camp.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think it's been that long already. I think like whenever I think about it, I'm like, oh, wow. I didn't realize it's been,
most of the year.
That long. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
6 months.
My wife says the worst part about it is that these fifth graders are super gross with their masks. They're fifth graders, right?
Yeah.
And so now they have something over their mouth and nose, which is disgusting anyway. For a fifth grader to have constantly. She's
Right.
like, yeah, the kids, they'll sit there and they'll take their mask because they got to blow their nose, and they'll just fold their mask up and then blow their nose into their mask.
Oh, no.
And then they'll just sit there with it in the mask, and it's just like it's just sitting on their face. It's like, oh God. She's like,
man.
she always says, you need to go clean or just go do something, go get a new mask. Yeah. Gross. And they can't do the
Go
face
take
shield
a shower.
thing, so.
Come back later.
Oh, so gross. Yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with that.
Dang, man, they're a hard thing. I don't mind wearing them. I'm happy to put them on if it's getting businesses going again. If it's helping people keep them, I'm great with it.
Me too.
But I don't remember my glasses, more or less my mask. I can't find my car keys half the time. Like, it's another thing I got to keep up with, and I'll just forget and walk in the store and get mask shamed immediately.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
the dirtiest looks ever.
Yeah, the worst part is Jesse understands. The worst part's the glasses. If you wear glasses, every time you breathe, it's like whoosh,
yeah,
and it fogs up, and you're like,
I
can't
with
do
wears
it.
glasses, and he's like, I can't wear these masks. I can't see anything.
That's the same reason I don't wear them in the wood shop. Like, I used to get people when I first got on Instagram, like,
Yep.
you need to have a mask on. I'm like, I would love to be able to wear a mask. I can't. It fogs my glasses up and drives me. I can't see anything. It's more dangerous for me to have a mask on because I can't see when I'm using my router,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hardly ever use. I have a couple of different masks. I have the respirator mask. Like, if I'm doing spray paint and stuff,
I take my
put that
glasses
on.
off and actually wear that. Yep.
Yeah, paint wise, I totally get it. Toxic stuff. Even I know sawdust. It's also dangerous in certain ways. And I have a RZ mask. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. And I have that, but I can't wear it when I'm sanding and stuff. You know what the good thing is though? We need to try. I have a gator from DIY or Work Gear. It's Work Gear, which is like a DIY brand. I actually have that. That doesn't fog up because it's just a cloth. It's not like a tight
That's
mask.
what I use when I go into the store. I have like a hook gear fishing thing. It's like the gator, you just pull it up.
The gators
you
are
just
a
wear
lot
it around
better.
your neck and then pull it up
better.
over your. I mean, to be real honest, it's probably not blocking anything at all.
Probably not.
Because it's like mesh, so you can actually breathe through it, but it appeases.
I think sanding would be a little bit like you assume it would catch.
It's kind of filter
dirt.
sand and stuff. Like when it's sand, not sand, wood particles and stuff when it's in dust and stuff.
So I love it. So you should try one. The gators are pretty sweet. They actually work out pretty well.
Or you could just buy a Merca with a vacuum and you don't have to.
I have a vacuum with my Metabo, but I need to get new filters for it and stuff.
Yeah, I heard those ones are pretty good.
Yeah, they're right. The vacuums are nice.
Vacs.
Yeah, the vacuums are nice. The sanders, like, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know about the sander. I was talking about the vacuum.
The vacuum's nice though. Yeah, it works pretty good. It's decent.
Yeah, they had that deal where a lot of people got them when they got like I think it was like a 2-for-1 deal or something.
Yeah, which is crazy. I don't know why.
Like I know Donnie from the Green Woodworker podcast. He went and in with his buddy and they both got one. He loved it.
Yeah, it works pretty good for sanding and stuff. I like it. The sander itself it's okay. It's pretty cheap compared to Festool or something like that. So if that's an option, I went from an $80 Makita 5-inch to 6-inch one. Right. So it still was a huge jump. But once you get into it more and you're, sanding hickory and walnut and stuff like that, you're like, I still need something a little bit with more power and things like that. Right. So I have some we're gonna do a segment today, guys. We're gonna transition into a segment for the first time. Now this segment is gonna be, I wish we had music. Do do doop doop doo.
You can add that in post, man.
I think you know the editor.
Yeah,
I do. That's right. He spends lots of time on this, actually.
For as much money as we pay that guy, he's got to get some music.
He's got to get some sort of music. Okay,
Yeah,
wait, ready? Cue the music. Okay, and now we're back. And all right, so this segment's going to be called Name the State. All right. I'm going to go through and we're going to read some instances, crazy stories, sort of criminal stories, whatever.
Florida.
And you guys are going to guess. what state this happened in. what Okay, so that's the whole thing. Okay, we'll start with one. Ready?
All right, whoa. We gotta have rules. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, what is this, like a game show, or are we just guessing?
No, you guys just talk about it. Just it's relaxed. You guys will talk about it. So you can talk.
Right.
Jesse will say, "Well, I think it's this
My
state for this
competitiveness
reason."
was getting rampant.
Yeah. I needed to know if I needed to beat Brandon to the buzzer or
Jesse pops open a beer. He's like, "It's time to go." Okay.
I did.
Smacking the mic like, pick me.
I know. No, you guys are both gonna guess. You guys are both gonna guess, and you give me your reasons why you think it's a specific state. Okay. All right. So the first story, and this is all we're just kind of going with it. So
like
we can make up some rules as we go. So Michael Harrell, who's 54, was arrested in August after ordering a teller to hand over cash from a U.S. bank location, using a note that he had his full name and address on. The FBI says it reportedly was written on the back of the document.
I heard about that, but I can't remember where it was at.
Oh, I did too. I don't remember. Oh man! All right,
Florida.
Brandon, you're first.
You got to
my
name
answer for any time. I don't even have an idea.
Nah,
I
it's
feel like that's
definitely
a
not
pretty high
Florida.
percentage.
I
You hear like the crazy stories on the radio. It's like Florida, man.
I feel like Florida has to have something with a gator in it.
Yeah, or
Or,
naked, somebody being naked, or
Somebody high as crap, something like that.
yeah.
That's true.
Man, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with West Virginia.
West Virginia. Why West Virginia? You just feel like
No, I like West Virginia. Isn't it West Virginia? Yeah, I think West Virginia it's an awful Netflix series, but The Wild and Wonderful Whites. Have you ever seen that? So it was on Netflix forever. I don't know if it is now, but it follows this family out of there, and it's the family of. Have you ever heard of Jesco White, the dancing outlaw?
No.
Walter White.
They did a PBS documentary about him, and he was this tap dancing guy from West Virginia, and
You watch some weird stuff, man.
very weird stuff. But I don't know, but for whatever reason, when you read that, it was that
West
show
Virginia.
popped in my mind. Yeah, it popped in my mind, and I was like, that seems like something.
You're
they would
like
do out there.
somebody that's looking for money, but it's a little hick, just
Right.
like a little,
Well, it's
little
just, you know.
not hick, but southern, little. I got
It's
you.
definitely not planned out. That was something, the guy was sitting in his car and
He
he
grabbed a bill.
grabbed a piece of mail and was like, I'm going to write this on
Grabbed
the back. I need some money real quick. And I can
He's like-
outsmart them. I've got
He's
this.
like, this is from the DMV, addressed to me. It's okay. I'm just gonna hand slide that over to you.
Send it here.
Yeah,
Send any future deposits to my house.
yeah. So, Brandon, what do you think? What state do you think that's from?
I don't know. I mean, I'm. For
You think it's
whatever
West
reason, I'm
Coast or you
thinking,
think
like,
it's East Coast?
I think like New Mexico, maybe.
New Mexico.
I
You're
don't
saying
have
New
a
Mexico
reason.
because you just said Walter White, so now it's stuck in your head. You're like, yeah, that makes
I
sense.
didn't even know that he was from there. So.
Yeah, he's from Albuquerque, man.
Albuquerque.
I don't
Come
watch
on,
enough
Brandon.
It's the only thing in
I
Albuquerque
watched
that
2
matters.
seasons of that, and I was like, "This show's dumb," and quit watching it.
It took me 3 seasons to get into Breaking Bad, but
Yeah,
all right. So Brandon's going with New Mexico. Jesse's going with West Virginia. This man from Ohio, everybody.
Oh, hi.
Cleveland, Ohio. And that's where that's from. Let me see if I was.
I feel like the more crazy stories we hear, we're gonna get better at this because
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, that's true.
So it says the teller referred to Harrell by his name and gave him an unknown amount. First of all, that's the first clue. When you are going to rob somebody and you hand them a note, and then when she goes to give you the money, she uses your full name to give you back the money before you leave. You probably have a red flag there. You screwed up somewhere,
right. She's probably did it like with a sarcastic voice too. Here you go, Harold.
Yep. Unsurprisingly, an FBI agent at the same time, when you present a note that has your name already on it and address, it helps law enforcement tremendously. Yeah, I think so. It's hilarious.
So what's funny is I want to say Erie, Ohio, up there near, I think it's Erie, Ohio, is where the guy robbed the bank with the bomb strapped around his neck. Do you remember that?
You're talking about Evil Genius, right?
Evil Genius. Yeah. That was also in Ohio. So evidently Ohio's got some crazy bank robbery stuff going on.
Yeah,
Mm.
Ohio's kind of weird, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's a weird vibe to it. All right, here's another one. I got 2 more for you, okay?
Is it Matt from Ohio? Got Woodworkshop guy?
No. Oh, is he? He might be.
I think so.
He might. No, he's
Sorry,
from
Matt.
Missouri. Dude, he's in Missouri, bro.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
All
right. That's pretty close.
Okay, next one. I think I took out all. All right. Woman gave new meaning to hot and bothered by burning down the house of a man who called her at 4 a.m. for a booty call and then fell asleep. So Taja Russell showed up at the Woodbury home of a man. Oh, you don't know where Woodbury is, but I didn't take that out. Who texted her looking for a little action. That man got all he could handle when he awoke to find his house engulfed in flames and 8 missed phone calls. Russell has also texted her old flame while he was asleep with love noted like, I see you want to die. Oh, jeez.
Wow.
The victim escaped through the window and authorities rescued his dog. Russell, 29, was arrested for the August attack and charged with attempted murder.
That'd be like Oklahoma.
Nah, it's 100% Tennessee. It's
You're like,
Tennessee.
that's definitely the Tiger King. I'll take Tiger King for 200. Thank you.
Joe Exotic for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, side note.
You
know
said
what's
Tennessee?
funny?
You're
It's
like,
Tennessee.
yeah, it's my
You said
neighborhood.
Tennessee.
Well,
You're like, yeah.
it sounds
He
like
knows
some
where
crazy
that
Tennessee stuff, but I actually know where Woodbury is in Tennessee. I know there's probably a
there's a
Woodbury in every
Woodbury,
state,
Tennessee,
but there is
so
a
I messed
Woodbury,
up,
Tennessee.
man.
So
Messed up.
I'll
Well,
go with Woodbury, Tennessee.
So you got Tennessee. Brandon, what did you guess? You said Oklahoma, the Tiger King
Now
state.
I'm gonna go to Tennessee because
No.
There's a Woodbury in every state, I guarantee.
Yes, I'm sure there is. Like,
Yeah.
there's like 10 Springfields all
Right.
over.
besides, how far from Oklahoma is Tennessee anyway? Is it really that much different?
Oh,
It's
still
that
Midwest,
far.
right?
Yeah.
You would consider Tennessee Midwest, right? Yeah, because you're in the central time
Southeast.
zone. Oh, southeast.
I failed geography. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Taja Russell in this incident is from New Jersey.
Oh,
New
what
Jersey, everybody.
Not
Which,
even close.
yeah.
are they doing with a Woodbury, New Jersey?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Gotta ask.
You got stuck on Woodbury. You didn't.
I did. It
diagnose
hit Woodbury.
The entire things, man.
We used to own property there. Where I told you we had the school bus. That was in Woodbury.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, last one,
Side
guys.
note,
Go
hold on.
ahead.
Side note, since you're talking about the Tiger King, so have you ever heard that app? It's called a Cameo or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where you can get famous people
Yes,
to
with Carol
okay,
Baskin
so-
and the other guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the other day, somebody, because we have a car wash local in town that's like pretty involved with the community or whatever, and so somebody paid her to put out a message about the car wash, like tell people to go to that car wash and stuff. So, and then the other day, apparently they've kept in contact, and so she gets on there. It was actually pretty nice of her. She's like getting ready for Dancing with the Stars. Apparently, she's.
Oh
gonna be
my
on that.
gosh. We all know she killed her husband, right? Like, she's a murderer.
Right, I know.
And she's on Dancing with the
I
Stars.
know. I'm like, she's nice, but she killed her husband. I never watched it.
Yeah,
but
that's no good.
She got on there and was like saying, sorry about the fires and like talking about the car wash and stuff. I thought it was interesting.
It's really nice. Well, let's take this back one more step. You've never watched Tiger King?
Yes. That's the biggest question. Come on. First of all,
Brandon.
Couldn't
Are
do
you
it.
kidding me?
I know this is old and people are like, oh, we're over Tiger King. First of
Yeah.
all, Tiger King's amazing. Okay.
Well, we've got a tiger loose in East Tennessee right now. They had to
Do you
cancel.
really?
We had to cancel UT football practice. Let's say they did UT football practice because there's a tiger loose. Like, if there's ever been a time, get the man out of jail. He's been waiting for this for years. Like, this is his time to shine.
Trained for this his whole
He's
life.
trained for this.
Get him out of jail. Get him down to Tennessee. That's what
Yeah.
we need.
No, there really is a tiger loose in like Knoxville. It is just
Wow.
like running around. They're trying to find it. They've been trying to find it like crazy.
Ugh.
That's crazy.
The
But
best
you guys
part of that
clearly
show.
don't deal with mountain lions.
We've seen a couple here in Tennessee, but not that often.
We get them in town.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
nice.
The sheriffs just go there and trank them and take them off, and it's like
Just
nobody
drop 'em
barely
off
makes
further.
the news.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
drop off. Each time they just go further out. And they're like, we're
They're
good.
like,
Hopefully
oh,
this
Tom's
time.
back in the tree. Drop his ass. Take him to the forest.
The best part about Tiger King is the fact, after how crazy he is, he runs for governor and gets 19% of the vote in the state of Oklahoma. I was a little embarrassed for Oklahoma. I was like, oh my God. Is this what just happened? So
I'm gonna text Nate when we get done and see if he voted for it.
I think his campaign manager was like my favorite person of the whole series.
he's like 19. You're like, how old are you? He's so super young, and he's all trying to control.
Why are we talking about this? We haven't talked about
Sorry.
woodworking. We talked about a vacuum and a wood shop
one.
like one time. That's all we talked
Last
about.
one. All right.
We didn't even do like what have you been doing this week?
No.
Well,
we can still do it.
We kind of did yours, right? Like
we did the
you've had a
depressing
lot to do
part
this
of
week.
it.
Yeah, that was a lot going on this week. I doubt you had any time to build anything.
This is just a decompression podcast. This episode. All right. So last story. In 2018, 2 men broke into a restaurant where one of the men had beer and chicken from the restaurant. The other man proceeded to undress and heat up top ramen that he brought to the restaurant to heat up. Both men spent over an hour in the restaurant before leaving. One man was arrested, and the naked one was never caught.
That's 100% Florida.
That's funny.
I just said it has to be naked.
So anybody that's naked for Brandon is just going to immediately say
Naked, high on
Florida.
meth. I'm sure they were in there cooking top ramen.
Yeah, so those are pretty good.
It's the only place warm enough to be naked all the time. So
Yeah,
Also accurate.
you guys are both correct with Florida, everybody.
Yes.
100% correct on that one. I think it's hilarious that the second guy that's obviously super high,
what?
the guy that's super high is like, hey, let's break into this. Let's commit a felony. We'll break into this restaurant. The one
Clearly
guy's like,
the
hey, I'm gonna
only
get
way
free
to
beer.
cook top ramen.
Yeah, the one guy's at least smart. He's like, hey, if I'm gonna commit a felony, I'm gonna get free beer and chicken out of this. The other guy's like, no, I brought my own top ramen, and this is what I'm heating up. So
Maybe it was chicken flavor and he boiled beer and cooked it in.
maybe. I think he's probably way too high.
Both worlds.
I think he's probably way too high to come up with an actual ingredient and menu like that. But
Maybe.
I thought that was
never know.
hilarious.
Maybe it was DMT.
Maybe some shrooms. All right,
Maybe.
Joe.
Lizard people.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a lot of shows and stuff. I did find a new show this week, and I'm absolutely loving it. And it actually goes with this podcast, not technically, but what we usually talk about a lot. But Netflix has that series. It's Chef Table Barbecue.
I started that.
Amazing.
great.
Chef 2 table.
No, it's called Chef Table.
It's called Chef
This is
Table.
their barbecue edition.
It's
So they've had
called
multiple.
Chef 2 table. I think it's like a.
No, I think it's
I
just
thought it
called.
was a show.
I think it's
Well,
called
no, there is
Chef
something
Table.
called Chef 2 table, but
Oh,
whatever.
maybe.
Go ahead. Ignore me. I'm stupid.
All right.
just
At some point, we're
interrupting.
gonna have to get a Jamie here that's gonna
Yeah, I
look
know.
this stuff up for us, right?
No
No.
kidding.
Here, I'll look it up.
No,
You
it's
got
called
it?
Chef's Table. It's Chef's
Already
Table.
Already
Thank you.
too slow.
We were right.
And it's
Chef's
the
Table.
barbecue version. But I watched the one earlier tonight, and it is about the lady. Her name is Tootsie, which rang a bell to me because we have Tootsies here in Nashville. But she runs a barbecue place just outside of Austin
Called Snows.
called Snow's Barbecue. That's right. 85 years old, runs a coal-fed barbecue joint. I mean, she does all the cooking. It's insane.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing.
she's an absolute master of her craft, and it is the coolest show. And I'm gonna tell you what, I started watching that one. Then I went into another guy that I think he's in Australia, that he's just cooking purely on fire. Everything, vegetables, everything that he does is a custom-made kitchen, cooks over fire. Very, very cool. But the production and filming of those shows are incredible.
It's
they
outstanding. really
are. The shots, the sound, everything. It's insane.
The story, how
Yes.
they progress the story's fantastic. The shots of how they use the camera to focus
Mm-hmm.
in on certain things, dude. It's like going to the theater and watching a movie. I love
Yeah.
barbecue, so I'm that much into it.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
also I appreciate when there's a craft like that. Like I love YouTube videos, cool.
Yeah.
But I love when something's put together so freaking well. And that Chef's Table barbecue show is amazing. It's so good. And
It's one of the best.
I like wanted to get up and just drive to
Yeah.
Austin or outside Austin and go to that place.
Jesse,
Dude,
I literally pulled up Google Maps to see how far it was from my house.
that's awesome. Dude, I'm
for the
same
record, 12
way.
hours and 37 minutes.
That's right. Dude, I'm the
Probably
exact
not
same
going.
way. I told Brooke, I was like, hey, we need to go to Texas for our next vacation. She's like, why? That's so random. I was like, because of Snow's Barbecue outside Texas. And that's where we're going. Because people get there at 3 or 4 a.m. so
Yeah.
they can get the lunch by 11. That's how long they wait. And I'm willing to wait that.
They have beers at coolers full of beer in the line.
You just go get.
You just drink free beer while you're sitting in line.
It's amazing. All right, so we're going to do a podcast at Snow's Barbecue in 1 week, everybody. I'm so well. If you ever listen, or if you like brisket and you watch how to cook brisket, or even YouTube barbecue stuff, Franklin Barbecue, right?
Oh yeah.
So he even says, like, I mean, he makes amazing looking brisket. That's all he does is make brisket, and he even says the best brisket is Snow's Barbecue.
Yeah.
Like, she does it the best. Yep. And so if you want to learn from her. And she's 85 years old. She freaking does a bus driving during the days. And then
takes care of she's a janitor at a school during the day and cooks at this. Yeah.
Wow. And then she goes and does.
She's 85.
You guys will be happy to know that I fully plan on ordering a Traeger now.
Good. Nice. Good for you.
I feel so left out. I have to.
Please do it.
I have to spend my money. I don't even have to.
Your mom deserves it. If anything, your mom deserves it.
You've got more people to cook for now.
Right.
So
oh yeah, sure.
You can cook everything there, casseroles and everything, dude. It's basically.
I cooked pork chops.
See me doing that.
Yeah. I cooked pork chops, chicken breast, and chicken thighs tonight on mine.
I smoked burgers, grass-fed Utah raised burgers. It was amazing.
Put frozen pizza in the oven.
Well, you can throw the frozen pizza in a Traeger and cook it in a Traeger because it's an oven.
Better.
I guarantee you it does. I've done pizza in my Traeger, homemade pizza. I have actually a pizza stone that goes into my Traeger, and it takes 10 minutes to cook, maybe, or probably around there. I crank it up as high as it can go.
I'm saying you run it up to about 500.
Yeah, I put it at 500 usually, because as much as you're opening it, it usually go like 475 is what it usually stays at. But throw it in there, 10 minutes, cooked. Perfect. It's that thin crust. It's like Neapolitan style. You can just throw in whatever you want. Dude, it's the best. It's the best. It's so good. Yeah. And I'm trying to get my brother-in-law to get one too. My sister-in-law doesn't know, and she won't watch the podcast, so we're okay. But,
I passed on my old barrel smoker to a friend this week. So it's a very sentimental moment for me letting that go on to him. But he's an actual chef, and he wanted a smoker, and I was like, try this one out, man. It's my favorite. And whatever you cook on it, I get part of it. That's the only thing. I may give this to you. I hold the rights to get it back at any time because I'm a little sentimental to it. But I also get to eat anything you cooked off of it. So I'm pretty excited that he got it. And he's going to get into doing some smoking meats and stuff. So
yeah, I love doing that for people. Like even tools, giving people tools that I hooked my buddy up with my old table saw. And stuff like that, just either giving them a really good deal because they're just starting out, or even just giving it to them and saying, this helped me when I first started, and I hope this helps you get into this passion of mine that I have. I love doing that for people.
Yep, done that several times.
That old barrel smoker, man. If you ain't got the money for anything else, you make you one of those and you'll never be unhappy.
Dude, I just got a quarter of a beef. I'm very excited about. Very high quality. It's Utah raised. The cow is from the Carter family farm in Millard County. Like, it's really cool to know where I got my beef from. And it's fantastic. I'm really excited. I got 2 briskets. I got 2 tri-tip. I got a bunch of ground beef and steaks and all this stuff. And I'm so excited to throw it on. Today we had burgers, and the meat is so much darker. It's not, I didn't know this. My buddy was telling me, did you know that the meat that's in like grocery stores, they dye it red? A lot of the time they'll dye it red so it looks like more red than it actually is.
Right.
Which just sounds so gross to me. But this one's not really, it's not a bright red like that. It's a dark maroon.
Like a purple almost.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, and the first time I had like real like good grass-fed beef, I was like, this is weird. Kind of like the first time I ever had like home-owned chicken eggs.
It's such a giant difference.
Like orange.
Yeah.
Like so fit. I mean, at first I was like, nah, I'm not eating that. It was so weird.
What's wrong with this?
The first time I ate the grass, I mean, to be honest, I had to get used to it. I was like, I've never had anything that even remotely like this my entire life. And then you start eating, you're like, this is kind of weird. Like, it tastes almost like gamey. at first, but then once you like get it cooked right and it's way better, obviously.
You guys ever had like unpasteurized milk, like straight from a cow? I've never had that, but I've heard.
I have, but
is it
I mean,
good?
just like out on the farm. Man, it was a long time ago. I don't remember disliking it. I don't really remember. It was kind of uneventful, to be honest with you.
I wonder milk at all. So
I love milk.
I love milk too.
Even when I was a kid, my mom was like, "You never would drink milk." I'm like, it was disgusting.
I used to drink tumblers, like big old glass tumblers of milk. I used to drink one in the morning and one at night. Never broken a bone in my body though.
They call me when you have your kidney stones.
Yeah. My son and I crush the milk.
Yeah, I like milk. I like it with cookies, whatever, but I don't drink as much as I used to. I've transitioned to chugging coffee, basically, as you can tell on every podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, not drinking milk, but like any milk products always like kind of upset my stomach. So I was like, I'm not like, I just quit eating cereal at all and everything. And then my girlfriend started buying like lactose-free milk, and like she's like, just try it. I'm like, no, it's gonna make a stomach hurt. I don't care. I don't want a cereal that bad. And then like she like made me do it, and I was like, holy crap, it didn't hurt my stomach at all. And so now I've like got this world of reintroduced cereals, and so I'm like eating different cereals.
You're like pure sugar.
She's like, what do you want? I'm like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Captain
Lucky Charms,
Crunch, Fruity Pebbles.
We've completely went the wrong direction on this. Okay,
she's trying.
That's what you get from me. You guys bring the health stuff. I'm bringing the Chips Ahoy.
You're like, you want the dad bod right now? Okay, this is what you need to get me.
Yeah.
That's why I had to stop drinking milk for a long time, is because with milk it takes me to dark places. If I have a glass of milk, I'm getting something sweet to go with
need
it.
Oreos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I had to stop on the milk for a little while to get rid of the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. Milk. Well, I hardly ever have it anymore. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, to kind of round the podcast off, how about we talk about, I know we had busy weeks, everybody had stuff going on, things were crazy, but how about we talk about just real quick what we got coming up instead of what we did, and if you got any future plans to build something this week. So how about you, Brandon?
I'll let Mullen go because I got to think about it for a minute.
Okay. All right. So I'm I'll be working on some stuff I have a cutting board I was working on. I'll be finishing that up probably in the next day or so. So that's just a poplar cutting board, and did a kind of a different design. First juice groove that I've ever done, believe it or not.
So I've only done one, so you're not in the club alone.
Oh, good. All right. Well, it seems like everybody does cutting boards, juice grooves, and all that crap.
People ask for them. I was just like, no, I don't do that.
Yeah, well, it's very time consuming. Plus,
I love Brandon's honesty with people who ask him to do woodworking stuff. It always cracks me up.
I've seen some of the messages he sent out. I'm like, wow, you're brutal.
You're very honest.
I mean, I'm not lying.
No, you're not.
I didn't want to make the jig and all that crap.
Yeah, so I just actually made a jig sort of, but I didn't make it around the entire cutting board. So I just made a 2x4, which is really close to the same height as pretty much the same height as the cutting board, because it's a thicker cutting board. And then I just marked out where I want it. Like I laid the router down on top. I'm like, okay, I want it there. Then on top of the 2x4 that was on the side of the cutting board, I just screwed in basically a straight flat board that I knew that was straight. So I only had one side. So I'd mark out where to stop, and I just went through, stopped, unclamped it, rotated the board, did it again. But since I cut angles on two of the corners, I actually had 6 sides instead of 4, and it was kind of a little harder to do. And then I cut out a big corner, kind of a triangle in the corner where some more juice, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of meat. So I figure more area that it can catch, the better. But I'll be finishing that up this week. My parents want me to, I was going to build a bookcase for them, and now they kind of want me to build built-ins instead for a different area of their house around their TV downstairs. So kind of designing that, going through and seeing what they want and planning that out this week. Not a ton of building for me. I might just tinker in the shop a little bit and design stuff. And then once I get the okay from them, I'll be heading up to their house and building stuff. And so that's going to be a task, trying to get, get everything. Most of my stuff's mobile. I do have a smaller table saw that I can take, stuff like that. But it's going to be coming back and forth from the shop to their house. And they live 5 miles away, or their
Are
house
you
is.
guys aren't neighbors?
No, we're not. We're not like those weird Tennessee people. But, they do live. Both my in-laws live about 5 miles away, and then my parents live 5 miles away, kind of the other way. So really close, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But so I'm trying to get their house ready before my dad retires in California and moves out. So they have the house already, and so I'm trying to get some stuff done. So
sweet.
That's my week. What about you, Brandon?
So my buddy Nate that painted my vanity brought it back this morning, and it looks amazing. I'm staring at it, you can't see it, but it looks really good. So I got the doors already made, and they're all painted. The drawer faces are painted and everything, but I still have to make the drawer boxes and plumb it all in. Why I need to plumb it in? I don't know how people make vanities just like generically. Like, how do you know where the plumbing's gonna hit? It seems strange, but I guess if they're doubles, usually they have 2 drains, and I only have 1. Talked about this before. Anyway, so I got to make the drawers shallower in certain areas wherever the plumbing's going to go. So I need to get it in, plumbed in, and then I can figure out what size the drawer is going to be. So it's going to look a little weird for a couple days, but it'll be all right. And then I didn't really work this last week from all the stuff going on. So got to hit it hard this coming week at work. We got like a bunch of tables need to get done as soon as possible. And then I need to design a clamp rack for a video at home. For the shop, though, it's under agreement with like Pony. I told them if they sent us clamps for the shop at work, I would make a video and make a clamp rack. So still got to kind of design that and get figured out exactly what I want to do. I want to make it a little bit kind of unique and multi-purpose, like some shelving on it for maybe glue or clamp, stuff like whatever you're going to use while you're clamping up stuff. So that's probably what I'll be doing this whole week.
Nice.
Are you busy?
It's funny. I was telling somebody tonight that with this new house, we have this giant island. And one of the things I want to do is build one of those big cutting boards, like what you were talking about, but a good, thick, big cutting board with the juice groove. But anyway, that's not what I'm going to be doing this week, because this week my shop is an absolute train wreck. It absolutely looks like I dropped 3 grenades in there, shut the door, and walked away. It's terrible. My dust collection, for some reason, a couple of it, like where I have it all piped in with PVC pipe and stuff, it's come loose in some of the 45s and stuff, and it's fallen off. And I just was in there cutting and trying to get stuff done when I was doing the shiplap, and there's dust everywhere. It's terrible. So I think my project this week is going to be completely empty my entire shop of everything, blow it out, and then probably do some reconfiguring. Definitely do some reconfiguring with my dust collection. I'm in a very long battle with dust collection right now, so I've got to get that squared away so that the shop doesn't get so
PVC
dusty.
to each other. Do you glue it, or?
I did not glue it because I wasn't sure that is how I wanted it to permanently be. So I used ducting tape, like what they use in AC ducts or whatever, and it's
metal tape.
Teflon.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, that stuff is strong and it's held in there for a long time, but I think after a while, the dust will finally get in there. And I run that IVAC system where it's automatic gates and everything. And that really does it. It's a great system. It really works well. But what I've done with the PVC runs and stuff, it just isn't working well. I need to do a little bit of upgrading dust collection stuff on my table saw and a few other things. So I got to get that squared away. And then I'm also going to
PVC, or are you going to switch over to like the metal ducting?
I'm honestly thinking about getting away from piped in completely. I got another dust collector, and we got one of those Harbor Freight 2 horsepower ones. And then I have my Delta 1.5 horsepower one. And I'm thinking about just running 2 dust collectors. One for my table saw, planer, and joiner that are all next to each other, and I'm just going to remove and put, as I use them, place them over, and then one for my bandsaw, table saw, and whatever else I got over there. I can't even remember now.
Just with the flex hose?
Yeah, just with the flex hose. Thinking about getting one of those Rockler, the ones it's got the ends with the handle on it, so you can grab it off, quick release, and put it back in.
It's great.
We both have that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I love the pipe thing concept, but until I really sit down and come up with a good solution for it, and I use something that's going to be permanent, then I got to get away from it because it's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like piping in your table saw would be really hard. Like I
yeah,
keep thinking about like how do you pipe it unless you have a big enough shop to where you can come down
yes,
on the right, on the side where your fence is off the table and then go underneath.
right.
It's gonna be on the floor or in the way.
Yeah, and because of the way my shop's configured, I can't put that like right side of my saw up against the wall to come in on it. So I would either have to where now it's on the floor coming up because I didn't want something coming straight down in the middle of my shop or my table saw sits because I'm filming and I'm moving it around and have to get different angles and it's not a big shop. So I didn't want something hanging from the ceiling that was going to be in the way of filming all the time. So like I said, I think I'm just going to go with the 2 dust collection system for right now, use the eye back gates and the automatic cut-ons with those and just see how that goes for a little while until I kind of reconfigure. I think if I go back into piped in too, I'm going to wait until I get a cyclone system with a larger dust collection and go that route with it and just do it right. And I've been looking at maybe making my own cyclone instead of buying one.
That's cool.
So we'll see how it goes.
That's cool. Yeah, I use the same kind of thing. I haven't piped in anything. I have 2 dust collectors, and one is for mobile, kind of hit my bandsaw, and sometimes I use it for my table saw. But the one I have, which was the Harbor Freight 2 horsepower or 1.5 horsepower, I can't remember. It's mounted to the wall with a dust separator. That one goes to my joiner, my planer, my table saw, and then the other one I roll around to kind of the router table and stuff like that.
Right.
And it works out great. It's not, I don't have an issue with it. And I'd rather not have stuff piped down in the middle of the, shop. So
yeah, I only have one, just the wall mounted Rockler one, but I think it's like a 1250 CFM. I don't know how many horsepower it is, but it's decent size. It's still 110, but it's not the smaller one, but I just have one hose. It's actually probably pretty inefficient because it's like a 20-foot ribbed hose.
That's what I have.
But, it's like whatever. It works good. I mean,
that's it.
Complaints.
Yeah, I'm not super particular on it. I know there's some people that like test and see how much suction.
Yeah, but it's like how much can you're still gonna get dust come out the top of your table saw unless you have overarm dust collection, which I've never used, but just looking at it, I'm like, that would be so annoying. Yeah, because like my buddy I work for, he actually is ordering a saw stop, the 5 horse. And he's like, oh, we're going to get all the cool, because he's going to get the sliding table for the side and like the flip up outfeed table on it and all that. Because we don't want to have like a big table because it's going to go in kind of the middle of the shop. So we want to be able to move it up and down so we can walk around and stuff. But he's like, oh, we're going to get the big overarm desk collection. I was like, don't do that. He's like, why? I'm like, because it just looks like it'd be in the way. Yeah. Like having a guard on your table saw, like you can't lean over it and make like precise cuts with a miter gauge or anything. You have to move it out of the way. It just looks like a pain in the butt.
It looks like
it'd be worth it or not, but
yeah, like for people that have crazy clean shops, I'm sure that they use it. But for me, if I get dust, I assume dust is going to be everywhere. You're sanding, you're freaking routing, you're doing all this stuff. I just plan on blowing and cleaning out my shop after every project anyway.
I tried to do that. Like at first, I'm like, oh, I need to keep my shop really clean. But the second you get the router out, it's like, well, there goes that.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. I mean, unless you have like a Festool router, they're actually pretty good at the dust collection. But I'm not spending that.
Only time I don't have dust in my shop is when I do routing in the driveway instead of the shop.
Right.
Yeah. It's impossible. You can't do it. I just blow mine out after everything. I got that EGO battery operated blower or whatever. That's great. I just blow it all out, but I got to do something with it. I think I've got that. I have a Delta contractor saw. It's the largest one that they make. Which one is that, Jesse? It's the
you have the 36, 50, 51, 50. Do you have the 52, the extension table?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're the 36, 51, 52.
Gotcha. I couldn't remember exactly whatever size it was, but it's got the built-in dust collection, but it goes to the 2.5 inch on the backside. I think what I'm going to do is make a platform on the bottom and cap off the bottom underneath it, and then put in full-size dust collection port on the bottom as well, and run one of those. Yeah, and well, I'm going to run one of those Rockler. Rockler makes a 2.5 inch to 4 inch dust collection Y, in Wyatt. I'm going to wire one into the main dust collection oven and one going underneath to trying to kind of get them both at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Matt did that. Actually, I did that too.
Did you on your old Delta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you could, well, I don't know. I think ours were the same. Yours just had the higher power motor and a bigger table, or
it did. Yeah.
So like I'm not trying to talk crap about Delta, but this particular one
no, you're good.
had horrible dust collection.
Yeah, well, my first one was horrible too.
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt had the same one, the Woodworks guy, and he kind of put a video on his Instagram. If you scroll back in his feed, you probably find it. But he like took the piece out that was actually collecting the dust. Like there's like a blue tray in there. I don't know if yours is the same, but where the blade goes into it and kind of tries to collect it. He took all that out and then put that thing in there, and then like taped off all of the ports around the saw where dust could come out. Yeah, or something like that.
Or something. Yeah,
I used like cardboard with tape, and it worked just fine. But I built like a thing underneath, and then put that thing in there. The big tray with the 4-inch port worked a lot better, even just completely getting rid of the top portion, because I kept finding out, unless you have a zero clearance insert, which you probably do.
I do.
But, yeah,
made by Matt, actually.
Yeah, he made those. That's what I had too. But before that, the small pieces would fall down in there and clog that thing up like immediately. So that was a pretty good solution to that.
Okay, I'll go back and look at that. I want to say I think I remember him doing something, but I couldn't remember.
I'll try to find the pictures of mine too and show you.
Okay.
I think it's the same dust collection. It's those models are all from the same year, group year, and so it's going to be the same one. So
I mean, to be fair, it's at least mine was a contractor saw, so it was just like
mine is.
That wasn't really what they had in mind when they designed it, probably.
Yes,
right.
And you have to look at the price and what you're paying for.
Yeah,
you're not. You can't be paying for a perfect dust collection.
No,
you want that? Buy a unisaw, or
right,
which is you buy the.
And it worked good for me. I mean, I used that. It was $600 saw from $599 or whatever, and it worked good.
Yeah, it works.
Time.
Yep.
I mean, I sold it to a guy, and he's still using it, as far as I know.
That's
nice. Yeah, nothing's perfect, but I'm trying to make it better, and I can. So, or better than it is. And
I mean, even my saw stop gets piled up with dust in the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, thanks guys for watching or listening. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel. We appreciate if you subscribe there. You can kind of see us better, our beautiful faces. We're sorry to have to look at Brandon. Huh? Yeah.
13 viewers.
But we appreciate if you share with your friends, whatever, like it, comment. We appreciate all the support, everybody. We also do, like we said earlier, we're going to have a link in the podcast if you guys would like to help donate to Brandon's mom and her losing her house and all the stuff. All of us would appreciate it, and I know that she would too.
Definitely appreciate that. And I promise next week will be less depressing.
Hey, they got a serious side of us for a little bit, which I think is good.
Yeah.
So that's this is us. We're just us being us. So thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it. Now go build something.